if you worked in the private sector, you know that, hey, there's going to be buyouts. People that can retire, and that is the first indication that the company's going to do layoffs. So in this video, we're going to go over why I think in the Postal Service there's going to be more layoffs coming. And I did a video yesterday, and people have been like, these aren't layoffs yet. They're just buying out people and paying for their retirement. So I got some data, I got some stats. Today we're just gonna focus on the Postal Service, because in the private sector, when they're doing that, when they're doing these buyouts, layoffs will most likely follow. And now let's go through some of the stuff that I got prepped. So first of all, this isn't the only government agency that is doing buyouts, right? So we're looking at 10,000 Social Security Administration's worker could accept buyout offers. Healthcare agency also under RFK are also looking at buyouts. And if you are in the private sector, you know that, hey, buyouts means layoffs afterwards. How do we know? Well, if you're at Boeing, Medtronic, and Cisco, early 2020, Boeing offered buyout, early retirement packages. Before then, they announced layoffs. And Medtronic in 2023, a med device company, offered early retirement incentives to cut costs. Cisco did it also in 2020. So this is the predecessor of layoffs. You know that when companies saying time to get people retired, that means layoffs are coming, right? So with the Postal Service, I read this article right here that's from the Federal News Network under the 10-year reform plan of DeJoy. I hope I'm saying that right. USPS cut the workforce by about 30,000 positions since 2021, right? And it's on track to cut another 10,000 positions through early retirement benefits, right? Early in his tenure, DeJoy, or however you say it, also cut 20% of USPS headquarters staff, right? Saving $200 million, right? So why is this a problem, and why am I making all these videos and saying, the post office isn't at the failing position, and it's just a whole bunch of nonsense going on? So when you're looking at the Postal Service, there's more packages being sent than ever. There's more mail going out and all this kind of other stuff. And here we go. The U.S. Postal Service is projected to lose a $6.9 billion loss, right? That's with a B, not million, billion, right? Huge, huge numbers, right? And now we're looking at, oh my gosh, this is just servicing the United States, right? And now let's look at some of their competitors, because people said, oh, UPS is worse or better or whatnot. And it doesn't really matter if they're better or not, because look at the numbers. In 2024, UPS reported $8.5 billion in operating profit. So, and that is a worldwide company, right? That is like, they ship stuff to all over the globe. And it's crazy that they made so much profit. And yeah, this is just crazy when you think about that the US Postal Service is just locally and regionally and can't do that. And now let's look at some of the numbers I got, because people have been saying, oh my gosh, UPS is so expensive. When you look at the numbers and send stuff, then I got them right here. Next day air, and this is just from a website that says if it weighs a certain amount, next day air at UPS is $42. Next day air as USPS says is $41, and FedEx is $47. So you see, it's not that much cheaper to send it with the Postal Service. And here we go. Extra shipping rate comparison. UPS 2-day air $23. USPS 2-day fare is $25. So it's even more expensive, right? And FedEx is $22. So as we're seeing these numbers, and you see on the screen that these numbers are it's just crazy when you're looking at, hey, we're actually saving money if you don't go with that company, right? So here we go. The only thing where it's actually cheaper is when you ship it with ground. So when you do, when you ship it with the Postal Service in ground, it's $7.65, and when you go UPS ground, it's $8. So it's about 50-60 cents cheaper to do it that way rather than doing FedEx or UPS. And I just think it's not even worth going to Postal Service anymore, because when I used to sell some stuff on eBay, the funny part is I said, let me send it with the Postal Service. It might be cheaper. I stood in line. There were like 10 people in line. It took me about 45 minutes to stand in line. And then they're like, oh, you got to read it. You got to write it like this. You got to do this. And it's like, oh my gosh, it was just crazy. Waiting for 45 minutes. Then they lost my package and I had tracking on it. And all of a sudden, my buyer said, I've never received it. And so I called eBay and I said, hey, I've sent it out. What are we going to do about all this stuff? And then eBay told me I should help the Postal Service find it. It's like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to help them find it? Right? Yeah. Not good. Not good. It's just like, I wouldn't even do it, right? And now we're like, okay, the US Postal Service should be self-funded. That was the way that they said that they kind of set it up. So they shouldn't get any taxpayer money and all that kind of other stuff. Well, here we go. The US Postal Service has received $120 billion in financial assistance from Congress in 2020, including $10 billion emergency loan under the CARES Act and $107 billion in financial overhauling in 2022, right? Absolutely detrimental, right? When you're thinking about that, they're so much more expensive. We're funding them with taxpayer dollars now, and they can't be profitable, right? And so as a content creator, I said, you know what? We got to do this with UPS too. See what they got. And the federal grant and tax received one, as I could look up, and I didn't do, I looked at Google and I said, hey, find me a grant that UPS got. And they said they received one federal grant and the total volume of grant was $258,000. And the subsidies awarded, they awarded them, I think UPS in general, 392 subsidies awards, totaling $300-something million. And the funny part is, when you're looking at all this kind of stuff, it is actually that they still made huge, huge profits. And the Postal Service just can't compete. It just can't do it. And so now I asked you guys on YouTube if we should abolish it. And it's almost 50-50 as the time that I'm filming this. When I get home, there might have been more votes. But it is just an absolute crazy mess when you think about that all these people are going to get buyouts and then they say, we're going to retire you. And it's not going to make the product better. When you're looking at Amazon, and it's like, I always like to compare with Amazon because they innovate and have all these robots on, I'm going to put a picture up, on like automation where they're going to do it themselves. And I've read some of you guys' comments and you guys said that they opened packages, they lost it, and it's just not a good way of them operating in a whirlwind of all these other competitors that have an easier process. It's not even that much more expensive. And then why should we go to get mail via the Postal Service rather than just, hey, let me just send it via UPS or FedEx and be done with it? Because when I go to my local UPS store, they just ask me for the phone number, they pull up my address, and they say, where do you want to ship it to? I show my phone with the address, they type it in, nicely printed label, looks nice and clean, you send it, and it's out. And you know that most likely, I can probably guarantee you with 90% of accuracy, they're gonna deliver it. And with the Postal Service, it's just who knows when they're gonna get it, who knows what it's gonna be, and it's a mess. And you guys agreed in the comments that, hey, somebody went there and they said that they couldn't even get their mail. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like they send stuff and then they don't know when it's received, and it's like just a disaster, right? And yeah, when I look at all these things that taxpayers are fronting money, I can see why they're fed up with it, because you're not going to get good customer service, at least not where I live, right? And there's probably some locations in the US where the Postal Service is great service, where they don't overwork their people. But in most case scenarios, from what I talk to you guys, it's just not good. It's just not the products, the service, it's just not that great. And the wait times, oh my gosh, if you gotta wait in line for 45 minutes to send something, and then they're like, oh, write it here, do this, and then they're like, you didn't bring a pen, we're gonna have to charge you, or all this kind of other stuff. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm already paying for it, and you guys are supposed to be government employees. It's just not the route that I'd wish we'd taken with the Postal Service, right? And now they're looking at so much loss, and they're like, oh, we gotta early retire people. And I'm telling you, if they're not gonna turn it around, layoffs are gonna be coming. And like it or not, when I talk about layoffs, sometimes people say, oh my gosh, he's attacking everybody as a whole bunch, right? Like as a whole, the whole Postal Service. I think they can do cuts wherever people don't really perform. I'm not talking about if you're riding around in one of these cars and delivering mail, they're probably most likely not gonna get rid of you, right? But they might get rid of saying, you know what? Instead of delivering mail every day, we're gonna say we're gonna deliver mail every other day. Cut costs, save money. Because what am I actually getting in the mail? That's a whole nother thing. Most of the times when I get stuff, it's all campaign advertisement, it's spam, it's brochures, and all this other stuff. Most of my bills are now electronically via email or on credit cards, right? You put your credit card in, and that's how they bill me for sewer, that's how they bill me for water, that's how they bill me for electricity. And I don't really get that much for mail anymore. Most of it is credit card companies. They're like, hey, take out this new loan. You qualify for a new program that you can refinance your house and get this equity line of credit. And so this is the stuff that these people have to carry out. And I'm just like, no, let's not do that. You can toss that in the trash. And I know they're because, when you send it out, they pay something and they keep employees going. It's like, no, I don't need any of that. Just get it out. But hey, something's got to change. We are now looking at all these other agencies' budget cuts. They don't have the money. And it's just, we're in a day now where we just can't print our way out of it. And people have been saying, even in my comment section, that, hey, time has changed. It has just changed. You can't run companies just based off of growth and let's lose so much money as we possibly can and then just say, hey, we'll make it up with market shares and do all this. No, now investors want to see, hey, can these companies be profitable? Can they sustain themselves in high interest environments, right? And now we're seeing layoffs upon layoffs. And that's why when you're looking at these Postal Service, you're looking at UPS making a profit, the Postal Service is losing billions, then something's got to change. You got to really look like, hey, where are my losses coming from? And it is not these people that live up in the Appalachian Mountains and saying, oh my gosh, this is the route that's going to be super impacted. Then deliver mail once a week. Or have them pick it up at a P.O. box, right? Pick them up when they come to town. They already do that. I've seen people that say, I'm going to pick up my mail, right? And there's going to have to be some innovation where, hey, we got to save money. We cannot keep doing this because taxpayers like myself have to pay for it. And when you're looking at these losses, I mean, how much more losses can we take everywhere? We're taking losses here, taking losses over there, we're taking losses over there. And at one point, it's just going to be the burden on everybody paying taxes. And then what do you do as a result? You need to increase taxes. So yeah, I don't know if that's something that you guys want, but I'm like, no, I'm already paying for all this stuff. It's like, no, let's not increase taxes. Let's make sure that, hey, these other companies can do it. Why can't they, right? And I know it's like, oh, it's the government. Well, we should have probably run it a little bit more smoother and leaner and make sure that, hey, maybe we really need to deliver every other day and make sure that we can stay in our budget and not just blast past it. And yeah, and have to ask Congress for another round of emergency funding. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. It is a gorgeous day out in LV. This is where I choose to live. It's a great place. I like it a lot. It was kind of cold in the morning. I think spring is coming. I've seen the weather change a little bit. It's going to be 75. And yeah, it's going to be good times. Good times coming. So yeah, if you haven't, please like and subscribe. I make videos like this all the time. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to talk about Tesla a little bit because I used to own one. And man, Elon Musk is under fire with Germany dropping sales. So this video is coming tomorrow. And yeah, this is going to be dropping later on tonight. So let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.